Let me teach you something about markets you didn't know. Apple is on the tip of everybody's tongue all over the world. That's right, Apple, the company. You got an Apple iPhone, Apple laptop, makes money, right? Well, did you know Apple have bought 700 billion of their own stock over the past 10 years in cash? Not market cap, they've actually bought that much. Now, the sad part is that they bought 700 billion, but their total market cap, it's only about 3 trillion. Huh? How does that work out? Well, I'm just going to teach you something about markets. You're going to find it very useful for cryptocurrency. It also might come in handy for PulseX later on as well. PulseX, here you have PulseX, friends, the greatest DEX in crypto. Out here, owning PulseX is owning the casino. It is the main DEX on PulseChain. And it will also come in handy for a couple of examples if you recite them, okay? Specifically, GambleFi narrative back in 2023. There's a token, friends. Remember RollBit, RLB. RollBit, it's very interesting because, you know, how we think about markets, they're not necessarily working the way we do, like, kind of imagine in our minds. We kind of think that if you have a buy and burn function from a working business and you just keep pumping cash into the stock or the asset, you think it just keeps going up and people follow it and they believe in it. Nope. Look what happened to RollBit, friends. RollBit, this is insane, man. It was making like millions of dollars of revenue per month and they just got dunked the hell down. What the hell was going on? Well, it's kind of wild, right? How the hell are you making millions of dollars a month and this thing just freaking just drops down and literally does nothing? Well, what ends up happening is just because there's a cash flow business that's buying into the offers, it doesn't actually mean shit. It's so wild. You would think it would, right? That's like the Holy Grail, right? No, wrong. Yeah. The Holy Grail is convincing people not to sell. All right? It's on the buy and burn. It's convincing people not to sell. Storing value. That's why stores of value go up the most. Gold, even Bitcoin. Yeah, that's why it's a very lucrative asset label, isn't it? So, you know, Apple bought 700 billion of their own stock over the past 10 years and their total market cap hits 3 trillion. And, you know, I've shown you now with RollBit as well. RollBit will make millions and millions and millions of dollars. Remember, it's online gambling. And what they're doing is they're funneling it and they're buying the token. What ends up happening is people who just own the token, they were dumping the whole time. Kind of wild. So, I mean, it is crazy, fans. You know, Apple 10 years ago, they have bought back more than their entire market cap from 10 years ago. That's crazy. So just 10 years ago, their whole freaking market cap, they have actually purchased with cash flow revenue. Isn't it wild? I just want to show you the chart as well. If you go back, we go look at like 2015 as well. I mean, this is wild, man. How the hell is this, friends? In 2015, Crapple was 28 bucks. Actually went up 10x more. Yeah, so it's worth about 300 billion market cap 10 years ago, man. This is just, when you think about it, man, you're thinking, Sommi, how is that possible? The dollars put in are meant to stay there on the bids, and it's meant to act like a multiplier going up. The interesting part, friends, is it's actually not. I know it's so crazy. You know, there's another example. You know, IBM, friends. IBM, you know, Internet Business Machine. They have a market cap of, here you go, 233 billion. I think it's them. I think IBM. Friends, IBM, 233 billion. Do you know, this is the craziest part here. I think pretty sure it's them. They have bought back more of their stock than their actual market cap today. Yeah. Yeah, could you believe it? I think maybe they're a bit higher, but yeah, I mean, like last year, maybe their market cap was 120 billion. Yeah, they have bought back 150 billion. You wouldn't believe it, man. You're like, what? You're telling me the entire market cap of this freaking piece of crap Ponzi stock was 120 billion market cap. But since the past 30 years, they've actually bought 150? What the hell? I know, this is crazy to think about. Look, man, the thing is, when people buy in, if they have no intention to hold it long term, there's no cheat mode. You can't actually make the price go up. Crazy, man. I know, it's crazy. That's why the biggest value is a long-term holder. That's the only way to win. You need long-term belief. Hence, I told you about the archetype from memes, cults, religions. Remember, Bitcoin's the first neo-religion of crypto. Actually, it was the first crypto, right? You see, man? So if you have too many short-term jeets who come in, it doesn't even matter what their size is. If they come in, if they're not holding, right, when they sell, they're basically like, they come in, but if there's a profitable cash flow business coming, like, you know, that's happening, that's able to buy back the stocks, yeah, they're just, when they sell, they're just like chewing up into the cash flow coming in. And it's just wild, man. Like, you would think that if a company's doing this, you should almost have an infinite price market cap. You're like, man, this is the holy grail. You have revenue coming in and they're coming in to buy the stock, and it's not, man. It's actually not. It flips you. I'm still thinking about how the hell this stuff works, but that's the answer, man. I've given you the answer, friend. So I'm going to play some angel music just to interlude. You like that, huh? So now you know, right? If no one believes in your stock or your asset or whatever it is, if no one actually believes in it long term, it doesn't matter that you're making profits today and you actually buy back your thing. It actually doesn't matter. Crazy, man. I know, like, it still boggles the mind. I've given you the RollBit example. I've given you the IBM example. That's a stock, right? And now I can show you Apple, man. It's Tim Crapple himself. Because you know when people believe, friends, in a normal market, when they do it fast, every dollar put in, you can get anywhere from 5 to 20x market cap value. Yeah. So, I mean, technically, yeah, if this 700 billion happened over time and people believed, that 700 billion entry, it should put Apple, it could have been anywhere from 7 trillion up to 20 trillion. You want to know what's funny, friends? If I show you China GDP, it's 18 trillion. Yeah. So if everybody in Apple believed, that's what you'd get. Apple would have been the freaking size of China. The thing is, though, friends, you don't actually have that scenario, do you? You have, what ends up happening is you have sellers who are coming in, and a lot of executives, CEOs, insiders, everybody's pretty much dumping over time and is gyrating itself over time. So what can we learn from this? Well, what we can learn is the market doesn't care how much you force it higher. Yeah. It's crazy, man. Just once again, like, you would think that you have a cash flow coming in. Yeah. You think it's the holy grail. Like I said, you think it's the holy grail. You have a cash stream coming in. And if you route that and you make a decision to go buy up the stock, yeah, you would think that it's a staircase to the moon. It's not. If it doesn't want to go up, it won't go up. You need long-term believers. If the market doesn't think it's worth that much, it won't go up there. You know, it's crazy, man. So look, if you were to remove all your biases, you figure this out on pen and paper with me, you would get to the same conclusion. It's just hard to admit it. And the answer that you're looking for is, like, you know, if the market doesn't want to be at a certain value on the way up, okay, no matter where the money comes from, it will get dumped down eventually, you know, which includes if the central bank of a country prints money and buys something up, it doesn't matter who owns it, man. It will eventually go to fair value. Markets, it's kind of crazy, man, but it is true. Markets eventually go to fair value. It's the wisdom of the crowd. It figures it out, right? Sometimes you see ratios blow out. Sometimes you just see these things come in. But yeah, so like another way to even look at it, I know this is tough, right? That's why a lot of people get tricked. Obviously, here's the thing, right? Let's say there was a stock out there. Yeah. Let's say it's meant to be 1 billion market cap. Let's say that's its fair value, 1 billion. Okay. Now, you and I know that a dollar is a dollar in terms of, you know, someone inserting 100 million into that to try to buy it, which is a huge amount of money. Or let's say it's 10 million. Someone trying to insert 10 million, it doesn't matter where it comes from, okay? But just think about the crowd, yeah? If Warren Buffett himself inserted 10 million, that would have a way bigger impact than you or me if we just grab 10 million and put it in. Because, you know, us, we're like, this probably, they think we're just punters, you know what I mean? But if Warren Buffett himself, the Oracle of Omaha, if he throws in 10 million, people will be like, whoa, something's going on. Also, a step above Warren. Imagine the US Fed. The US Fed put this stock on their balance sheet, what would it do? Now, we know, okay, there would definitely be a boom and bust in it. There would, you know what I mean? Like, it's, even though the market's not meant to be above $1 billion market cap, you know there will be this positive on-flow effect of people coming in. However, eventually it will resettle. Eventually. You don't know when, right? You know, just like it will form its own bubble, because probably no one's ever seen anything like that happen. But, you know, so if we write that down, we get to that same conclusion, you know? But if you're dealing with, say, a company and they have, you know, cash flow coming in, we also know, right, just by the example we use, yeah, well, you know, if a company's not worth more than $1 billion, it doesn't matter if Warren Buffett buys in or anybody, right? It's not meant to be there, right? In terms of that, what I mean is, let's say the company's just average profitability. It's not growing, okay? And it's not going to grow in the next 10 years, okay? Well, here's the thing. If its own revenue stream of the company is, you remember, there's no person now. If the stream comes from its own revenue and it's buying up its own stocks, you know, if the market doesn't want to be at a certain valuation, it won't get there, you know? I wonder though, could it eventually just buy everybody out? Yeah. But you're making people who are holding infinitely richer anyway. And they do dump it down. And we've just seen, I'm just giving you these examples. IBM, friends, been making money for like 50 years. They bought back more of the freaking stock. But it doesn't want to be above 150 or 200 billion market cap, you know? It's not at the trillions or whatever, even though it's just insane, man. And actually, friends, I've actually looked it up here. Check it out. Over the past 30 years, IBM has spent $200 billion buying back its own stock. I know. It's just, you know what? It's such a magical moment just to see this. You're like, what the hell? Yeah. It's humbling, isn't it? It's humbling knowing that you can't cheat the market price, man. That's why, friends, when I teach you a lot all the time, you know, when you see a market price, you know, some people say the market is right, but you could also say the market's always wrong, right? You say always maybe the market's wrong as in it never stays static, right? It never stays anywhere horizontal forever. It's always gyrating around, pricing stuff in, pricing stuff. So any point in time, yeah, I guess it's correct for today, but it's like constantly wrong for the future, right? But then you might also say the market price is based off everyone's emotions today, so it's also correct. So looking at it like that, you never get your own answer, okay? It's looking for value or not, right? So a value means looking value to buy and value to sell. So if you own something and the profitability of the protocol is bidding this thing up, if it doesn't want to be there, people are selling into it and there's not enough people to come out after those bids and believe, right? I also mentioned here to you, that's why you might see, right, Richard Hart not waste the PulseChain sacrifice treasury. You know, a lot of people that they've wanted in the past year or two, they said, please buy up the bags. Please, please, please. Use Ethereum, just buy it up. And it doesn't work, dude. It does. Trust me, if it worked, we'd do it. Trust me, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, man. I mean, I've just given you examples where they had direct profitability. Direct. We had the gambling, RollBit. Man, we had IBM. Literally billions and billions over 30 years as well. They can't force it up. 30 years of DCA buying into their own stock, man. And then you have Apple. It's freaking Apple as well. It's the meme, man. It's the meme is powerful. And what I mean by the meme of valuation in everyone's heads. Yeah. If you are trying to fight the market, you're not going to win. You know, that's why it makes it tough as well. But also it's a glorious thing. If you can buy low and then it ends up winning, then you know, you know, you really did achieve something great. You bought off non-believers. Yeah. So the post, right, was from Charlie. Sharbil Bilelo. Right, showing that Apple bought back 700 billion over the past 10 years. Okay, it's an interesting tale. So how can we use this in the future? Well, let's look at PulseX, friends. PulseX has bought and burned over 7% of its user circulating supply. Okay, so removing the origin address. So what I'm basically saying is, even if the protocol buys and burns 20% of the user supply. Now, you look at 20%, you're like, dude, that is enormous. Okay? If it buys and burns 20%, don't let that influence how low you think it'll drop in after the bull market's done, because it doesn't affect it. Yeah. I wish it affected it, man. I wish it made it a higher low. You know the thing, friends? If it did force a higher low, every single coin and stock would do it. It doesn't. It actually doesn't. So what does it actually do? I mean, when you think about it, what does it actually do? Well, it's something that's forcefully chewing up stuff. It's nice to know that it's real DeFi, and like if someone puts an offer somewhere, which means they sell, something in the background is constantly chewing it up. It's nice as like a meme factor there. Yeah, I know it's deflationary. It's going to have a good narrative, no more inflation in an inflationary world. But yeah, man, there ain't no cheat code. There's no cheat code in markets. So I hope you learned something, right? And that's pretty much the conclusion. Yeah, so PulseX can go very, very high in the bull market. Yeah, but no matter how much of the supply it buys and burns, it can still drop 97% in the next bear. That's why I hope it goes really, really, really high. Really high. I hope it does 100x from here and let it drop 97%. Just like, yeah, it can do that. But I really, really, really hope it does that. And you hope that too. Okay, so there is no cheat code. There is no cheat code. That's why the more you understand there is no cheat code, it leads us closer to the answer we're looking for, which is, okay, smarty pants. If forcefully inserting cash into something doesn't actually force the thing up, what does? Well, in the nature of crypto, it's Metcalfe's law. Yeah, you need believers, man. You need believers. You can't have some sort of robotic little cash flow generating thing because it eventually gets weeded out. The market's smarter than that. Right? You need believers. What's a believer, right? Someone who's holding long term. That's it. Someone who's not going to cheat in 2 seconds, 2 hours. Okay, that's what it is. They take supply off the market. They don't put it back on for a while. How long's a while? Whatever. You get the point. That's how Bitcoin went to its price. People bought supply off Bitcoin and they refused to sell it. And they sell at the top of the bull. That's all the big whales do. They're not dumping it all in between. If they kept dumping in between and we just kept gyrating, it would never go to a valuation above $1 billion market cap or whatever. But it did hit trillions. So, that's why, friends, you watch my channel, highest value content in crypto. We explore this stuff. You don't find stuff out here in crypto. You don't. I know you don't. You know why? Because I watch everyone else too. But you know what? It's going to fool people. It's going to fool people. And I know, because people are going to have a coin. Oh, there's revenue. This thing like a pump fund thing. Oh, they made revenue and stuff out here. It's not the cheat code, brother. And obviously, in Euphoria, there's no point trying to convince them. Save your breath, But they're going to get trapped all over again. They'll learn the lesson the hard way, which is good. The fact that I know this and now you know this, we have asymmetric information over the rest of the market, which is really cool. It is really cool to know that. Because, look, I'm not even guessing here. I guarantee you, and there's not many guarantees, friends. I guarantee you I've got the straightest posture in the northern, southern, eastern, and western hemisphere, and also the pointiest elbows too. I can make those guarantees. But I also guarantee you there will be a point you'll see certain chains or tokens or products, the heat of the bull, the euphoria, and people will say, hey, look how much money it's making. We can't go down. The protocol's buying so much. Okay? I've shown you the example, man. If the cycle of buyers is if we've run out of buyers, it doesn't matter what your protocol's doing. We all know in a bear market of crypto, the volume and the attention drops anyway. But I've even shown you, friends, with Crapple and with IBM, the attention stayed. It still wasn't enough to force the coins up, stocks. So even in a perfect world, you still lose, But lose from where? That's why ultimately you're building into euphoria. You want people to start thinking like that. We can never go down. We can never go down. That's what we want to get towards. What do you think? Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.